The coronavirus. There, I said it. Now that I'm not going to get monetized, although wasn't going to get monetized anyway, let's get into it. So, don't really have anything too much to say about anything professional to say about the coronavirus. I have no medical knowledge or anything. This is mostly just kind of my observations of the whole corona thing. Basically, more like people's reactions to a thing like that. Obviously, the thing people seem to be talking about the most is the whole toilet paper situation, where people are hoarding toilet paper for some reason. I mean, sure, you need it, but you're gonna last a lot longer without toilet paper than you would without food or something like that. So, not really understanding the whole toilet paper situation. It's kind of weird. Now, part of me wants to just sit down and say, okay, people are crazy. Look how crazy they are. You know, stockpiling toilet paper. What a bunch of weirdos. But actually, if you sit down and you think about it, the amount of space that toilet paper takes up on the shelf, if you have like 10 people go into the store, each one of them buys a package of toilet paper, versus if those same 10 people go in and each buy a can of soup, they may have like hundreds of cans of soup, or maybe even thousands of cans of soup on the rack, but just because of the amount of space that a can of soup takes up versus the like a big package of toilet paper. So from some extent it almost kind of makes sense that toilet paper would sell out quicker, or at least get off the shelves quicker, just because taking off one package of toilet paper accounts for so much more of the shelf space devoted to toilet paper, if that makes sense. So yeah, kind of downplaying that a little bit. I know it's kind of fun to think about how wild and crazy and stupid people can be, but bringing that back a little bit there, although people can be pretty stupid. So, and also, like, why people are getting that much toilet paper. I mean, like, one of those, like, packages of toilet paper that has, like, maybe 8 rolls in it, I mean, that will easily last you, like, months. I mean, unless you have, like, a big family, or you're, like, a heavier user, for some reason. Who knows? Maybe you have something medical. Maybe you just like to roll, like, an entire roll of toilet paper around your fist and then go at it with that. Who knows? Anyway. So, yeah, and of course there's people that are trying to profiteer off of the whole thing, which, yeah, screw those people. So, a weird thing about the toilet paper panic buying is you kind of have to wonder how much of it is actual panic buying. Like, an individual comes up with the idea to panic buy toilet paper completely in a vacuum, completely on their own, versus how much of it is people see other people freaking out about toilet paper, so they think, hey, I need to freak out about toilet paper, and it just kind of spreads that way, which is a kind of a weird thing. Because if you think about it, like the toilet paper shortage we're having right now, they could have flipped the switch and all of a sudden created a toilet paper problem like this at any given time. As in, like any necessary good. Like, if enough people just kind of like independently decide, okay, we're all going to make a mad dash for I don't know, maybe not toilet paper, maybe, who knows, toothpaste, or deodorant. So they completely buy out the store's entire stock of deodorant or something like that, and it's just like, okay, where the hell are we going to get deodorant now? And then you end up with like a stinky situation like that, and then who knows, maybe you can like sell it back or who knows what. But yeah, it's just weird that how this toilet paper panic just kind of sprung up overnight so randomly. I don't know. I don't really know what my thoughts are on this. It's more or less more more fascinating to me than really a problem. I mean, I have some, TP stocked up, so I'm going to be fine and all that, but it's weird. So I go to the grocery store where I, do most of my shopping, and I go down the paper aisle, and sure, all the toilet paper was gone, but then, glimmer of hope, there was some of those, like, flushable wipes. So it's not like they were, like, completely cleaning it out. It's just the big packages. Those flushable wipes, those come in, like, much smaller packages. So, I mean, so if you absolutely need something, and there was still, like, napkins and some paper towel and whatnot. What was weird was there was actually soap left over, which, considering the nature of the pandemic going on right here, I would have assumed people would have been more concerned about buying soap and things like that. Instead, it's just all hand sanitizer, and just like, okay, hand sanitizer is convenient, but it's not soap. I mean, there's no real substitute for soap. I mean, isopropyl alcohol, which is like the important thing in hand sanitizer. I mean, that definitely has its disinfecting properties, but soap is still soap. But yeah, so yeah, I was still able to find soap, no problem. So, I mean, it was definitely picked through a bit, but there we go. And also, like, canned soup. Sure, the canned soup was, again, picked through, but there was still some left on the shelves, so they weren't completely going nuts over that, too. But I hear people are going nuts over, like, boxes of mac and cheese. And now that kind of pisses me off, because I like mac and cheese just as, like, I don't eat it often, just, maybe once a week or once every couple of weeks or whatever, just as kind of like a comfort food, just to kind of kick back and relax and whatnot. It's also good for recipes and whatnot, but people going that hog wild over boxes of mac and cheese where they could get, like a can of soup. I mean, a can of soup. I mean, if you get some of that chunkier soup, that could be, or Progresso or whatever, not really, doing a brand thing here. Yeah, I mean, you can get like all of your vitamins, minerals, and stuff like that much more than I'd expect you to get it from mac and cheese. So it's just kind of like, do people like seriously not have this amount of knowledge, like, period, at all, to just kind of think about, okay, what do I need? Like, what exactly do I need to live? Sort of thing. And I guess they don't. I mean, part of it seems like a person doesn't really know how much food they actually eat in a week, so they just kind of like buy up as much as they can, and they probably end up buying like at least like maybe 4 weeks worth of stuff when they end up wanting to only buy one. They completely overestimate it because they never actually sit down and actually kind of tabulate out how much they really need. Again, it kind of goes along with the toilet paper thing. People don't know exactly how much they use, or specifically how much they don't use, and kind of completely overshoot the goal. But, interesting. One thing I did notice is frozen pizza. Like, for a while, like when the worst of it was starting to hit, frozen pizza sold out like quick. But then I went back a few days ago and it was completely restocked up to the brim. You can buy all the frozen pizza you want. So I mean, why people are panicking? I mean, the trucks still work. Trucks are immune to the coronavirus. Just think about that. So yeah, I think people are kind of overreacting a little bit, at least on the food side and whatnot. As far as being aware and trying to avoid the virus itself, I mean, sure, do the whole social distancing and all that kind of fun stuff. But as far as going for food and supplies and things like that, have a little bit of what was a good word? What would be a little bit of discipline here. So, maybe actually sit down, look at your pantry, and actually figure out exactly how much food you actually have, how much supplies you actually have, and actually like do some math. How long would this actually last you? If it's longer than 2 weeks, then you're probably overdoing it. So, although one good thing, so I have been going back to the store. I know, I should be staying inside or whatnot, but like I said, this is kind of fascinating to me, and I'm not in one of the hottest zones for this. So I do keep going back to the store every now and then to kind of, pick up some new stuff and, see the damage and whatnot. So I have also noticed that, a lot of the fresh food, because people are kind of focusing on the stuff that lasts, like dried pasta and soup and whatnot, fresh food you can actually pick up, for a reasonable price. So I've been picking up a few steaks and whatnot and kind of eating like a king, which may be a little irresponsible health-wise, but I'm going to enjoy it while I can. So make the best of a bad situation. And plus, eating fresh food kind of pushes back the time when I actually might need to start eating my canned food and whatnot, my reserves, dipping into my reserves, I suppose I could put it. So yeah, so that's kind of interesting. All right, and of course, you always kind of have to like wonder how much of this panic is, or like the overall thing around this is truly organic, and how much of it is manufactured. Because, I mean, sure, there is a health concern going on here, but also you kind of know in the back of your head that, okay, like news organizations and online pundits, and I guess, for even me right now, because I'm making a video about it, it's just kind of, it's getting the clicks these days, So it makes sense that people would be talking about it, but that also kind of means that they are financially encouraged, even if they are not explicitly so. They are encouraged to kind of make a mountain out of a molehill, kind of, doomsay, more or less. But I'm not saying that they actually are. That's the problem. It's that you get into the mindset where you know that it's in their best interest to doomsay, so you start to wonder how much they actually are doomsaying. So you kind of wonder, okay, how bad exactly is this? And it's just kind of confusing, because you know that the different sides at play here. I mean, another kind of aspect is how much of this is like true panic, and how much of it is this is also like the latest big thing going on. So I mean, let's be honest here, there's a little bit of novelty involved in this too. I mean, I've never really had to be quarantined before or anything like that, so hey, this is kind of a new experience, kind of see how different this is, kind of a new experience that I'm sharing with the rest of the world, kind of thing. So not really sure how to put this. So yeah, this is a rant video, so don't expect me to actually be able to put a lot of this stuff into words. It's mostly me just kind of rambling. I should call it a ramble instead of a rant, but whatever. So yeah, so how much of this is people just latching on to a new and interesting thing and trying to make more of it than what it is? Of course, like I said, the whole problem is, how do you know how much of a thing this really is? And I can kind of see maybe, as far as safety-wise goes, kind of veering on the side of caution there. I mean, I'm not in one of the worst demographics for, if I do get sick, I'll probably be okay. But, there's always who knows and whatnot. So, yeah, interesting times. I'm not really panicking or anything. I'm not really too distraught. Of course, maybe if I had a loved one or whatever that actually caught this and died, maybe I'd feel completely different about it, but so far that hasn't happened. And honestly, so far I don't even know anyone personally that is caught in the disease. So maybe once that happens, things will be completely different. I know some people that have kind of tangentially been around people who may have been infected, which, that's kind of, he said, she said almost. Still doesn't really feel real. So, I really have no idea how worried I should be. So I think my default worry level is probably pretty low. So, who knows? Maybe that's the correct way to treat it. Maybe that's not. Maybe I should be stocking up for doomsday or something. Who knows? So yeah, just kind of some weird things. Oh yeah, as far as the toilet paper goes, I'm not sure how it is for everyone's grocery store, but if you want to feel a little bit better about it, when you walk by the aisle with all the toilet paper and everything, don't think to yourself that, wow, look at all the crazies that are stockpiling toilet paper. At least for my grocery store, you walk by and you see it empty, you think, wow, people are stockpiling party supplies. So, just treat it a little more positively. There we go. So yeah, so pretty interesting. We'll have to see how this all turns out. I am of the mind that I think this is going to eventually turn a corner. Oh, almost forgot the whole stimulus bailout thing. So, I waited long enough that I waited long enough to make this video that I can actually comment on that too. So, the whole stimulus thing, where I'm in America, obviously, where we'll be getting like $1,200 or something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, great. I'll take more money. I mean, that's technically going to cause inflation potentially and all that. So, I mean, it's not going to be worth as much, but whatever, because of course our money isn't backed by anything. There's an entire rabbit hole of economic kerfuffling that I could get into right now, but not really what I'm trying to do with this video. But yeah, sure, I'll take the money. I'm probably just going to save it. I know they are putting the money into circulation because they want people to spend it, prop up the economy or whatever, but the smart thing to do is save it until you need it at this point. Oh yeah, one other thing I wanted to bring up. So, I've been watching some online pundits and whatever, and of course, getting $1,000, from the government, that kind of sounds like what the old Andrew Yang was talking about in the Democratic debates. So I'm starting to see some talk online about how, like, even these Republicans are kind of turning to socialist programs and whatever, and they're saying, oh, this is the death of conservatism, and this is, kind of America is turning the corner into socialism or whatever. I think that's a bit premature to say. I mean, I'm not really trying to make a value judgment good or bad here, but I do think you are jumping the gun a little bit. So I have been meaning to make a video about my thoughts on the whole socialism thing at some point, which I'll try to get into my whole political philosophies and ideologies at that point. But for the time being, let me just kind of summarize a little bit. Stuff like socialist type programs, more socialist type programs or whatever, in my view, they're good for maintaining society. So in times of panic like we're having right now, you want to get back to safety and security and more of a maintain kind of mentality. So of course, in this kind of situation, you want to it makes sense to go more for a socialist type mindset, whatever. Think almost like rationing if it were a war, something like that. Whereas more capitalist type mindset, procedures and whatnot, those are better for progress, for innovation. I know they keep touting innovation as being what capitalism's all for, and this is not to get rich people and the corrupt off the hook, saying, oh, they're just doing the whole capitalism thing. It's like, no, capitalism, corruption, there is a there is a difference. I'm talking about ideal capitalism here, but yeah, long story short, those of you who are like, okay, this is the death of capitalism, and onward with the socialist rebellion and whatnot. I'm just like, hold on a little bit there. Hold your horses. We're not there yet. So I'll get into that more when I actually do a full video on that. But for now, just keep your head a little. Keep your head a little bit. That's where I know how to talk. Anyway, so yeah, that's about really all my thoughts on the whole Corona thing. Just kind of rambling, but honestly, if I bothered to sit down and like script something out, like totally, I probably would never have made a video at all. So yeah, so rambling is fine. I did this all in one take. Who cares? No one's gonna watch it anyway, so whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I'll get into that discussion when the correct time arises, and I've got maybe a bit more to say, maybe a bit more structured, with an actual script and maybe some actual production and whatnot. But that takes work. I don't want to work on this channel. Do this for fun. Anyway, so there you go. See you next time. Later.